Okay, welcome back, guys. Got a very special guest here again today. I have Elina Maranz. She is a broker down in Collier County, the Naples area. I don't get down there that much, so I figured she would be a great resource to come on the channel and tell us a little bit of what she's seeing in that market. I pull numbers and things down there, but it's really good every now and then to get a boots on the ground. So thank you so much for coming on, Elina. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, Ben, I'm super excited because to me, you're like a YouTube star.
Oh, so
I found you on YouTube. I don't remember how I found you, but through one of your rental, you had like a rental because I'm heavily into rentals videos. And then I was like, I got to talk to this guy. So I'm super excited to be doing this. Thank you. I have been a realtor here in Collier County. I live in Naples since 2019. And 2 years ago, I got my broker's license. I went off on my own and I have my own brokerage. It's called Naples Vibe Realty because we love Naples and anything Naples Vibe. So
nice.
the name of my brokerage.
Excellent. Yeah, guys. And we'll have a link to that in the description as well so you guys can check it out if you're looking in the area. She's a great resource. So jumping right in, just getting into the market. Today, I finally got the Board of Realtors April numbers. I pulled Collier County. They have 9 months of supply for single family homes down there. And they have even more for condos. They have 9.7 months for condos and townhomes. What I found interesting was there was 3,520 total single family homes listed in Collier County, but there was 3,860 townhomes and condos. So you guys actually have more townhomes and condos on the market than single family homes right now. What are you seeing in the condo market down there?
I have two condos listed right now for sale. One is at 240 and one is at 275. They're both overpriced. They really should be much lower. Obviously, you have owners that are still trying to catch the market that's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think that condos, which used to be affordable to anyone that just wanted to have a little place in Florida rather than renting, they don't want to get a big house and everything. They used to be a lot more affordable. The fees were much lower because of cost of insurance. The condo fees have gone up. I have a condo. My fees have gone up by $200 a month in the last 3 years that I've owned it. Plus, we've
Okay.
had $5,000 of assessments in the last 2 years. So that little condo, 1,000 square foot, is costing me a bundle. Um, yeah, it's a lot of money. We have a lot of older condos because anything close to downtown is older, so they're requiring a lot of assessments. After the storm, they had some repairs, so all these condos are just suddenly, even if they cost 200,000, they're just expensive to carry.
Mm.
It's hard to finance them now. Anybody that has cash will buy it, but people are kind of turned off by the fees. So we have a surplus of condos. I'm also seeing a lot of older people kind of moving back north
Mm-hmm.
uh, and selling off their condos. So we just have a surplus of inventory, and it comes down to pricing. However, I have like one of the condos I have listed. It's a 275, and a similar condo is listed at 207, and it still hasn't gone under contract. So I don't know. Is it the price? Is it the lack of demand? It is a little bit of a slower time of year right now.
Yeah, it's very weird here. We're getting the same thing here up in Charlotte County and Sarasota. We're trying to figure out why certain things are moving, why certain things aren't moving. Pricing is kind of all over the place.
We can only advise. We can't make anybody, do what we think. If you have a seller just still thinks like the 275 guy, he's like, I gave him the stats. He said, no, let's list it at 275.
Mm.
He's not desperate to sell. He owns it outright. He doesn't care. If it's priced right, just like anything else, it'll sell. But just yesterday, the condo that I have that's listed for 240, somebody that came in to take a look at it, and they said, hey, listen, we really like the condo. But we saw another one for 197 down the street, and we made an offer, but they were a little late. So that's a pretty big price difference. So the
Yeah.
197 guy, aggressive price to sell, just wanted to dump it. So it really comes down to like who is a more motivated seller. The pricing is just, I think the people's mindset still hasn't caught on.
Condos here for a while were a big source of investor activity. Are you seeing any investor activity in the condo market down there? And if you could speak to maybe just the investor activity in the area as a whole.
That's really interesting because I specialize in rentals, so I know the investor market really well. I, as a disclosure, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but I told you before, I speak the truth. I don't find condos to be good investments. If you're financing, you're not going to make any money. If you're buying cash, it depends, like what are you looking for? But to me, this market now is reminding me of 2019. We're kind of going back to normal. We have enough inventory. There is a demand, but I don't, it's just I think the inventory is here and demand is a little bit here. So there are a lot of condos, a lot. And as far as an investment, I tell people, well, listen, we have different types of rentals: seasonal and annual, and of course off season. So off season, your condo is just going to sit because there's just no demand unless you really want to slash the price and like ridiculously low. I just rented a condo like in a luxury community that rents for 8 grand in season. We just rented it for 2,500 a month, which
Wow.
is nothing for that condo, because the owner's like, listen, I just need to get some income to cover some expenses off season. We'll make up for it in season. We rented it for 3,500 in the last 2 years off season.
Okay.
So I find that if you are an investor looking to have a cash positive property, if you're buying cash, you might make some money. If you're financing, you're not making any money on condos. There's just too many, and the rental prices are not there.
Okay, and that actually, we're seeing the same thing here. I'm actually being told by my rental agents that they're not only having a really hard time filling their rentals annually, but they're actually decreasing the rents now on the leases they're renewing to keep
Yes.
people there. What are you seeing in the rental market as a whole down there?
Um, in a lot of cases, I'm finding that it is cheaper to rent than to own. Again, if you own it outright, your expenses are lower, right? Because you
Yeah.
only have even if your fees are high, you're still not going to be paying 5 grand. But in a lot of cases, I'm finding that if people bought at a higher percentage, higher price, they're paying 5, 6 thousand a month probably. Like a house my size. This house right now would probably rent it for about 5,500. But I could sell this house and rent a townhome for 3 grand or maybe even 2,800 and not worry about my fees or assessments or anything. And you know what? If I were to buy a house right now, if I were to give somebody advice, I would say, wait, rent for a little bit and see where the market settles. So in a lot of cases, I'm noticing that it's cheaper to rent than to own, especially, with condos. Like a perfect example, just last night I had a conversation. I have a good friend. He's a seasoned investor. That's how he made all his money. They owned 100 rental properties up north. Now they own about eight or nine good solid properties here. He bought a bunch of villas, new construction in 2020, 2019 for 250-ish, 250 to 280. And he's like itching to buy something. So I said, well, why do you want to buy something? Because the same property he's going to pay 500,000 for. So we did the math, and the villas that he owns now, he's making about 8% in that return. But if he buys now at 500,000, he's going to make under 4,000 return, for a 4% return. I'm sorry. So
Oh,
you're just
jeez.
not making the same kind of money.
He could take that money and just put it in a high yield savings account at this point.
5% interest and without the headache. I know.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. I said, well, let's wait and see. I'm like, what realtor's going to tell you not to buy?
Yeah.
But
Well,
I, as
that's why I felt like I had to have you on here. I do appreciate that candid honesty. So very tough to get any kind of positive cap rate financing. That makes sense. The From what I'm hearing is the rental market on a whole has softened down there as well.
rents are decreasing.
Okay.
Anything that's overpriced, just like a sales market, is not going to rent because people now have options. 2 years ago, I was able to rent something without even listing it because people will call me looking for a listing, and I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't list this property yet," and they would just take it sight unseen. Now the demand has subsided, and they have options, and they have you might be renting something for 3,500, your neighbor's renting the same thing for 3 grand. And, so
Wow.
they have options. So your pricing is very important. And the difference between now and 2019 is when I started, and I started right into the rental market. That was how I started. Um, we have so much inventory because, and I'm sure you had the same thing, everybody and their mother in 2021 was buying an investment property. And now we have sections that turn into just rentals, and now they're oversaturated, and you have pool homes that are renting for like under 150 a night just to get them filled.
Wow.
So yeah, the rental market is saturated. The vacation rental market is saturated. This was the first season that I actually had vacancies. Um,
Really?
vacation rentals, yeah.
Wow, that's what I was going to ask you next because up here our seasonals are holding fairly well. Our Airbnbs are getting just clobbered, um, but you're already seeing seasonal pullback down there.
I would say I don't know like exactly percentage wise, but I mean I was probably at 95, 90 to 95% occupancy, but I've always been 100% occupancy. I've
Okay.
never had vacancy, so I had some holes. I could have rented anything that you gave me, you know. And now we're back to that normal, except the normal is we have a lot more inventory.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned the normal is a lot more inventory, and a lot of that is kind of returning to normal. It's when I put up a stat like Collier County has 9 months of inventory. That's about what they had in 2019, though.
I remember that, yeah.
So that we're back to pre-pandemic levels, but it when people like to make the comparisons to 10, 15 years ago, we're still not anywhere near that. We're kind of at a baseline pre-pandemic inventory levels. Obviously, pricing is not back there, and I know a lot of people would like it to be.
Well,
Um,
I pulled up 2019 because I do feel that we're back to that pre-COVID, and I mean obviously the price is different because the median close price in March of 2019 was 340, in 2024 was 649. So it's
wow,
double, almost double.
yeah,
But um, we have in 2024 we have a little less inventory, but it's up 68% since last year. I mean, that's a huge difference. We're returning back to normal.
how is the sub like 650, 600,000 market there? Is that getting hit a lot worse for you?
Yeah, I feel that anything under 1.2, 1.5, although you do get cash buyers in that category, but anybody that needs to finance, and that falls into that financing category of single family. First of all, you still can't get a nice. We bought this house for 475 in 2018, and now it's. I mean, I'm guessing it's around a million, maybe more. I haven't really looked into it, but you can't get anything near this in this area for under 800. So 600 is still not going to get you a nice house,
Okay.
but that's a financing category. And then you have people that, once the lender tells you how much your monthly payments are going to be, a lot of people are like, and don't forget it's election year. So everybody's waiting. They're waiting for the election. They're waiting for interest rates to drop. They're waiting, waiting, waiting. I remember the waiting game in 2020. I mean, obviously different circumstances, but still,
Yeah.
uh, so a lot of people on the sidelines. Like I have one guy. This is the second season he rented. He's got the money. He wants to buy, but he's like, well, why should I overpay? I'll wait another, So you got those people that are just kind of like overthinkers, and then you got people that got cash and they're like, listen, I'm buying, and 10 years down the road, I'll sell it. What do I care? I need to do something with that money. So, but yeah, as I was doing research, I noticed our market is definitely not dead. I did find something interesting. I don't know if this is interesting for you. I find that like I have this one community that I sold a lot of these townhome community. It's a townhome community, smaller, like 100 something, maybe 150 units. They opened up a new community in Bonita Springs, which is our neighboring town north of us. And probably in 2021 they started that. So they pre-sold. Oh, there was only 96 units in that community. So he pre-sold to a lot of his people that bought in Naples
Yeah.
because everybody was flying high. The market was so hot. Rentals, I mean, you could not lose, right? And they were like promised these crazy rental prices even 2 3 years ago. I'm thinking, I don't know if I can get 6 7 grand, but okay. And now people that signed contracts 2 2.5 years ago, now they're closing now. They're closing at 2022 prices in 2024, but they overpaid. So now the resale is like 100,000 less than what they signed up for. So I've seen a lot of, not a lot, but a few people just walked away and
Wow.
lost. One guy lost $113,000 deposit because he's like, I'm losing money. Which way? What's the worst? What's my best way? And he just walked. So, new construction, anybody that pre-bought and closing now is, they're going to be underwater, I think, until the market comes back up. It kind of reminds me of, mid 2000s. So and that's
And that was like you're absolutely right. We saw the same thing here. People were sold anything that went up. I had a guy who I tried to get in a community called Grand Paradiso. He wanted a townhome. They were like 350 at the time, and he had all cash. He just kept getting outbid every time we went to look at them. They were, as soon as they announced one opened, it wasn't like if a lot opened, someone bought it right away to put it up for rent. And now on that exact road, there's like 30 houses for sale and like 15 for rent. Because you're right, they bought at 2022 prices and now they're looking at 2024 rents.
The rental market is not coinciding with the cost of ownership, right? So it would have cost him like almost 3,000 to own, or I don't remember. He would have been underwater. I would not been able to give him the same rent to even cover his expenses. So for him, he just panicked and walked away. And I have another lady that's like, she kind of bought it on a whim. It's the second property she got there. First one she did really well with, and now she's like really, really thinking about it. And listen, I wouldn't want to buy a property that I'm paying 550 for, but on resale they're getting like low 400s. You know.
Yeah, that's tough, and that's one thing I think everybody got caught up into. They were told during this time is rents never go down ever. Is what they were told, these investors, and you can just pass all these costs on to your renters. So don't worry, anything that goes up, and that's not really how it works, is it? You can't really, the market determines what people can pay, not what your expenses are.
Supply and demand. It's supply and demand. I mean, listen, we weren't like crazy, but one house rented for 4,200 a month, and now it's down to 2,900 a month.
Wow.
Because it just supply and demand. And when owners tell me, well, I can't lower the price because my insurance went up, and I'm like, well, listen, the rental market does not care. My insurance went up too, and I have a rental property, and I'm taking a hit on that. But I know that I'm not gonna, if I sit there and wait for somebody to cover my expenses, I'm gonna be paying all of that out of pocket. So I know, and I just took. To me, it's a take where you can get market now.
Okay.
But real estate is cyclical. So when people get depressed, it's like you have to remind them it's not forever. We went through the ups. You were happy when we got you, you did really well. And now we're going a little bit of a down. Like, we had the good times. Now we got to make it through the tough times. We'll come back up. But real estate is a long-term thing, so that's what some people don't understand.
Yeah, especially, people who got in first time in this last boom, but it good times will return, guys, is the message here. But
yes, of course.
yeah,
And what goes up must come down, and vice versa. So
vice versa. I like it.
But I find that we have witnessed history, just like we still talk about 2007, 2005. We will be talking about this for a long time, because to watch the market it was crazy, right? Like just crazy. And then, how it just changes. It's just been fascinating.
Yeah, I'm waiting until one day I can tell all the young bucks about 2021, 2022, back in my day, this is what happened. But with that being said, Elina, I'm gonna conclude here. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Please check out Elina's link to her brokerage it's going to be in the description. If you guys need anything in the Naples area, give her a shout, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Thanks, Ben. Nice to meet you.
Same
nice
here.
To chat. Take care.